Hello and welcome to Guide to Fathers of Nations, a novel written by Paul B. Viter. This is analysis of the novel Fathers of Nations by Paul B. Viter. I am your teacher, Robert Mutai. You can call me Robert Mutai, and you can always follow me on YouTube at Any Scholar. Just search for at Any Scholar on YouTube, or write to me via WhatsApp on the number 0726 473764. My email address brothermtai@gmail.com, eruditescholar2@gmail.com. My role today is to introduce us to the appropriateness of the title to the novel Fathers of Nations by Paul B. Viter. And this here is our responsibility to talk about the story Fathers of Nations by Paul B. Viter. Now, the title, Fathers of Nations. Is it relevant or irrelevant? The title Fathers of Nations is suitable because it satirizes the situation in contemporary Africa. Fathers of Nations is a honorific title that is given to a person considered as the driving force behind establishment of a country, a state, or a nation. And these are figures in the African context who once assisted their countries in driving away the colonial regime and therefore brought independence or brought self-rule back to the African people. And these are the heads of governments in Africa, known as the presidents or the prime ministers, and also the kings, depending on the governments that govern your country. We have an example of a father of nation outside Africa, Mahatma Gandhi. He is credited as the founder of the nation of India. And we also have Joseph Stalin, whom on his 70th birthday in 1949, after the Second World War, was bestowed with the title Father of Nations for his establishment of the people's democracies in countries that were formerly occupied by the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic, that is after the Second World War II, after 1949. In the African context, which informs the story in Fathers of Nations, Father of Nation was a title used by leaders to refer to their role in the independent movements as a source of legitimacy and use of paternalist symbolism as a source of continued popularity. They wanted to be remembered for a long time by calling themselves the Fathers of Nations. In the case of Kenya, we have the title Baba wa Taifa. We had the first president and the founding father of the nation of Tanzania, called Mwalimu Julius Nyerere. He's called Baba wa Taifa. In the Kenyan case, we had Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, the first president. He was Baba wa Taifa, a popular title that President Moi also adopted, and he was called Baba wa Taifa. The title in the context of the story is a satire, because in the story we have 50 fathers of nations, and these are the heads of the state who have come to meet at the capital city of the Gambia, Banjul, and the agenda of their summit or their meeting is not clear. Their discussion thereafter ends without direction. There is no head, no tail in the discussion. We have two rival groups that arise during the discussion, and each group is promoting its ideology. There are those for Path Alpha and another group that is supporting Way Omega. And this debate at the Banjul in Gambia, at the Gambia that is in Banjul, it seems to have no direction. And therefore, what comes out is that the agenda for Africa is set and dictated by the international financial institutions that continue to deprive the African continent of its right to enjoy its resources and its freedom and its independence. Although the Fathers of Nations are normally expected to provide direction and give an agenda, give proper leadership and guidance to their children, who in this context are the citizens of the countries. On the contrary, in the story, the heads of state in Africa seem to be clueless, visionless, and without agenda. And this is what ails Africa. Therefore, it can be said that the problems affecting Africa originate from poor leadership that has enveloped Africa as a continent. Needless to say, this poor leadership is not ready to hand over the baton of leadership to a vibrant and visionary leadership. For the longest time ever, after most countries gained self-rule, the continent of Africa is still stuck in the realms of poverty, where there is also widespread ignorance, there is illiteracy and disease 50 years after regaining self-rule. Thus, the appropriateness of the title Fathers of Nations, which in its sense is an ironic or satirical title to the story of Paul B. Vita. Let's learn more about the story from chapter 1 to chapter 14 in our subsequent lessons. It has been appropriateness of the title Fathers of Nations, and we agree together that the title by Paul B. Vita to his story is very fit because it talks about fathers, these are male parents, nations, and these are countries. So we have 50 males who come to meet at the Banjul to discuss an agenda for Africa, a discussion that ends without direction. I've been your teacher, Robert Mutai. You can follow me on YouTube at Any Scholar. Write to me via WhatsApp on 0726473764, or you can write to me via this email address, brothermutai@gmail.com, eruditescholar2@gmail.com. See you in the next class.